Okay, welcome everybody to Coffee and Art in the Morning. I'm Dede, and if you're watching this recording on YouTube, it's a live show on Ustream with mostly live awake people, depending on what side of the coast you're on. I'm Eastern Time. This is 9 a.m. Eastern. I stream every Monday, most Wednesdays, and the occasional Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, and with a live audience, a live chat. And yeah, so we try to have some fun here. So I will probably have some announcements, a couple things. I saw that Jean is. I haven't seen her recording yet, but I think she's putting together us having a 24-hour New Year Eve stream, and we've had them a few years. I don't think they're. Janet said we didn't have one last year. I was saying I didn't participate in it last year, because we didn't have one. But having streamers have 24-hour, we go an hour each or a little over. I think we try to coordinate, depending on how many people sign up to do it, but have 24 hours pre New Year, you know, New Year's night, pre New Year, 24 hours of streaming, hour by hour by hour. So we'll keep y'all abreast of the situation. The other thing is I'm expecting Happy Meal today. If I get the Happy Meal today while I'm streaming, I'll have an announcement to make on my show for my 10,000 giveaway. We'll see. And otherwise, I'll probably announce it on Monday. So today what we're going to do is, y'all have seen me work on magazine journals before. Here's two of them. I'll do a little brief overview of that. And then what I did is I picked out some of my old Flow magazines to show y'all how to make one. And I plan on making one with three. Now, my Flow magazines, I do use my Flow magazines. I cut them up, I tear them out. They used to even have a few that had these little tabs that would bend. They would bend out and they'd have different categories. They did that for a couple of issues. I haven't seen it lately, but anyway, I'm going to pick three of the most full of the three of the flows that I have left to to use. So, yeah, so to use to make a new magazine journal. Now, in the old magazine journals, I showed you how to it's kind of, I call it like reverse collage, where you're taking an image in the magazine, like a page, and you're whiting out, painting out, or coloring out with paint. It doesn't have to be white. You could gesso it first if you want, and then paint over it. I usually don't gesso anything. I just use paint, craft paint, a craft acrylic paint, and just to blank out the areas that I don't want to use. Now, there's a few things that are fun about and beneficial with a magazine journal. One being that you practice shading, blending, and combining colors. It's a great way to use, to figure out color combinations, to how to match colors. Matching colors is really a benefit in your magazine journals. But what I wanted us to do also is to show you that you don't have to just do that. Like, you don't have to just do the, reversing out the backgrounds and then keep the images that you want. You can add other things and also use it for color book. Another way to do, like we do the napkin journal, where we add color book elements into the journal, or the mixed media collage journal that we do with the Dilutions journal, and combine different backgrounds, mixed media backgrounds, collage, and color book page. You can do all the same type of stuff in the magazine journal, except you're using magazines. Instead of starting with just a blank white journal to have to do, dilutions and stenciling, which you can still do all of that in your magazine journal. But what I want to do is make us a new one to work in occasionally, just like we do the napkin journal, the mixed media collage journal, color book one, and then the mixed media just plain collage one. So we have different journals for different purposes. And if you don't want to have a whole bunch of journals like that, just have one. It could be just a blank, the Dilutions. It could be a magazine journal. But the thing about a magazine journal is that you have something to start with, right? You have a base, you have color combinations already set for you. So, like, let's see, let me find a couple pages here that are really, so you can see we have blue on this one. This is a teal one. And then I've also inked some edges. And so they're all different. They're all different, and you're basing what you put on the page or how you deal with the page by what is on the page already. So these elements are already on the page. You can blue out the text. You could leave the title if you want, the title of the article in that magazine. And it doesn't have to be necessarily an art type magazine. These two here are old Somerset Studio publications, not my Stampington publications. They're not the Somerset Studio ones because I don't cut those up, but or my art journal ones. But the other ones, like there's a blog one. Well, there's tons of them. There's probably 20, 25 different Stampington publications that all have beautiful photos, art pictures. There's digital ones. There's all kinds that you can use just, to blank out whatever you don't want. So here you can see I based the background color on the images I want to keep. So like this image right here, this orange, creamy, tealy, blue, light blue image here is what I used in my paint colors. And again, I just use the cheap craft paints. Now, I like Americana because I love the colors. I love that it covers well. But any craft paint, I would recommend matte, not gloss. The problem with gloss is you can't really color over it, write over it. It's just you're fighting the gloss of the craft paint if you use that, especially if you use color pencils. Whereas if you have the matte, let me just grab here. It just goes right over. Okay, color pencil will go right over acrylic matte paint. Terry says she has her book made. She just hasn't painted anything in it. But it's a great way for you to do multiple things. And if you use your magazine journal for multiple things, even if you just tab it so that you have different sections, you might, have color studies, color pencil combinations. You can do anything you can do in an art journal. You can do it in a magazine journal. The only difference being that you're starting with something to work with rather than a white blank page. Okay, my lighting got a little dark there. Let's brighten it back up just a tad there. Okay, so again, you can use the page itself. And if you don't like, let's just say you didn't like the text here on those little tags, just paint over that too. You can paint over anything and everything that you don't like. Now, these are very basic here. I've not done a lot of work on it other than putting the paint on it in this particular case. But I have tons of them. So you can see here. How do you fix that? I'm not sure how to fix what. I'm sorry, I missed something. Okay, so, and you can use multiple colors. You might start with, if you are a gesso person, you can gesso out the text and gesso out the images you don't want, and then put your acrylic paint on it. For me, if I use a white paint, I'll just use white paint and then a paint on top of it. But let's see here. Okay, so here's one where scented text messages was part of the text. Okay, I added my own collage-y stuff. So you can see that I'm just trying to find some really full-on done pages. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use the Flow magazines. 3 of them, and I'm going to show you how to glue them together, tape them together, put decorative tape, and then packing tape. So all you'll really need is 3 magazines of your choice, and they don't all have to be the same. I would recommend, though, whatever magazines that they are the same exact size. because you're going to bind the edges. I might even put 4. 4 looks good. Maybe I'll do 4 because flows are a little thinner. Now, and plus I've taken so much out of my flows. These are my flows over the months and years, and I've taken a lot of stuff out of them. So maybe we'll put 4. Then you'll just need some kind of decorative paper. If you like the cover here, like I do like this cover, but I don't want it to look like my magazine journal is just about flow, right? So if that's the case, you're going to want to get a decorative scrapbook paper, wrapping paper, whatever kind of paper you want. This one happens to be a glossy paper, scrapbook paper that already had a shine to it. This one right here is just scrapbook paper. If you're just going to put scrapbook paper on it, if you don't want it to get all bent and, you know, used looking, you'll probably want to cover the whole thing with packing tape or a matte medium or something to protect it, a gloss varnish, something like that. I might varnish mine if I use a plain scrapbook paper. And in this case, I use duct tape on this one. But we're going to do the packing tape spine like this. So what I did here, and again, I showed y'all how if you don't want the warping to happen, like this one's the worst. If you don't want your book to warp when you're working in it with paint, you want to work front to back to front, some in the middle, some in the front, some in the back. Otherwise, if you just try to go front to back with your magazine journal, the spine starts to warp. You see how that's completely turned sideways? Once that happens, you really can't ever get it back. So it's best to work throughout the journal, back and forth, back and forth. I know some people that's bothersome to them. They don't like to skip around in a journal, but then this will probably happen to you. This one is less because I did work back to front, but it's still going to warp some. These are magazines. Now, what I did here is I put washi tape on the spine, but you have to cover the washi tape with something like, I think I put matte medium on this one. I'm going to recommend you putting the packing tape over the top of your glued down washi tape. Washi tape is very pretty. It's not made for a book spine, right? So you can use it as a decorative element to cover up all the spines, but then you're going to probably want to put your packing tape over the whole thing. Any questions so far? Oh, the other thing that I want to say is now I've got my camera. Again, I hope I'm not yelling at you because it's real close to my face. I could back up a little. But I do have the overhang camera down. But I wanted to show y'all that when I'm doing the color book pages and we're doing them real close up, this is my trippy I showed y'all. I call them trippy. This is where the webcam attaches right here. And this is all adjustable. It's on a little ball there, ball joint, so it can go different ways. So when I'm filming the close-up color book pages, I can do this. I can come down. I can get real close. I can just set them up and face it down too, because my camera also has a bend in the camera, so it can just focus straight down. But when I want to get close up, I have to do this. And the other thing is he is sitting on my desk. So if I'm coloring like right here, I kind of keep a handle on him so he doesn't face plant you guys. Because I've done that before too. So this is what I'm using, and somebody had said, well, when you do your art cards, can you do it on Trippy too so we can see close up of the art cards? Well, 2 problems with that. One, I need 2 hands to do art cards. I can color with one hand and kind of, film with the other, but when I'm doing art cards, not only do I need both hands, but you really need to see the whole desk. I bought him specifically. I call him Trippy because he trips over if I bump into him. He is really sturdy though, and what I like is you don't see the legs. It's a flush. You can have some of the tripods, the thing is like right there, and the leg is in the way. In this case, he it can be flush where there's no legs right there. So he's real good for close-up color book pages. I've seen the ball jointed one, I have a small ball jointed one. I think they're called gorilla arms or something like that, to hold up my camera on the stick above us now facing down. And I wanted a big one of those. So I looked at the big ones that are like this size with the big ball joint thing, and they have them at Best Buy for like $65. This one, which it's got all these awesome features, and you can loosen and tighten and do all these things. This was $14.99 at Staples, and it does the exact same thing. I mean, he's bendable, it does everything. You could clamp him around a tree. I mean, you can do whatever. And he was only 14. I say he. I'm calling him Trippy the tripod. But he was only $14.99 at Staples compared to the Gorilla Ball Joint ones, which were 65 at Best Buy. I know at Amazon and stuff you can find them cheaper and all that, but I'm just saying, this one works. See how he can lean way in? I can have my camera like, he can lean way in. It just works awesome for color booking. Yeah, I could wait. The thing about weighing it down is I'm moving him all the time. See, that's why I wanted this. So that if I want to get a real close up on a color book page, like here's the color book page, I can do this, right? Or if I want to just kind of go right here while I'm constantly holding them. So weighting it down, and trust me, guys, even if it was weighted down, if I bumped into him, he's going to do a face plant, right? So, but that's why I got him so that we can do close-ups with color book pages and see the techniques real close. But yeah, that's an option, Carrie. But knowing me, that wouldn't help. I'd still face plant you guys down on it. Anyway, so I just wanted to show you this because although I did show you a photograph of it with the camera attached, I just wanted to kind of give you a little demo of how flexible and versatile he is for doing close-up work. And again, for 15 bucks, yeah. Okay. All right. So back to the magazine journals. Okay, so that's this one here with the the scrapbook paper is this one's already a gloss finish to it, and I might pull this stack out. I still have some of this paper from a few years ago. It was a steampunk Halloween. When I pull the stack out, I'll tell you the name of it because I don't know it right off the top of my head. But this one was I think this one was my first one, and I even still have wax paper in it. So here's one that we did. I did a whole show a couple years ago. Now I don't think it's on YouTube. It was before I was doing YouTube. But I had it on Ustream. Well, I did writing with I just took the ink. I just took a bottle of ink and wrote right out of the bottle. I just took the bottle and wrote the letters here, so it looked like this. And so like this one says current events. And again, all this is painted out, and I just left the image there and based my color combinations on the images. So you don't know what color. People say, well, what color should I start with in a magazine, in an art journal? Well, if you have a magazine journal, you know what colors to start with because the colors are already there. So let me find a couple of really awesome pages. Okay, so here's one. This already had imagination in the title. And then there was this cover page here and a little bottle of ink down there. And then all the rest of this, I think I started with a cream base. Then I scraped in some blue. And then I scraped on some, edges. And you can ink your edges. A lot of them I've inked the edges with, just taking the ink pad and making a distressed ink edge. And then you can blend with baby wipes. You can just scrape it with your palette knife and just scrape in colors and blend some out with your baby wipe. We're going to do all that depending on how much time we have. So let's see here. So you can see, you can use stencils. This one we use stencils, some rubber stamps. So you can still use all the same things. And I know I've shown this quite a few times. It's just been a while. You can use all your same supplies you use in your mixed media art journal. You're just doing it in a magazine journal where colors are not a problem to choose because you're just going to use the colors. Pick out the main one or two or three or however many colors you want, actually. But pick out the colors off the images that you're keeping. Some are neater, some are messier. Here's one where we actually drew birds on here. This was on the page. This little blue bird here was already on this page. And then we whited out everything and then just drew a bird in there. And just continue the little wire going across. So you can draw in it, you can journal in it, You can, draw your own images on top. Let's see here. So y'all, I guess you get the idea. I've shown this a bunch of times, but I'm just kind of here. We've added stencil, we've added drippy paint, all the same techniques. And here was a whole page of white text. So you can white out the whole text. Now, let me say this, you're going to have to pick pens. If you actually want a journal, like write journal, you're probably going to have to use like a big crystal, big biro or something to go over acrylic paint. Because acrylic paint is hard on like Sharpies, any kind of marker like that. Okay. Hey, Bam. Do I matte medium your page? No. I don't matte medium anything on these. These are just magazine journals. I just add, this is just white paint. It's not even gesso. However, if you want a gesso first, feel free. I just use 2 coats of white paint if I want to white something out. Okay. So you can see I added some washi tape here and here. And it doesn't have to be this distressed of a look. Some of the pages are more distressed than others just because that's a way to add a lot of color with a distressed look, and you can bring out a lot of colors with the distressed technique. But look, this is more smooth. So you can put the paint on and blend it with the baby wipe or paint, paintbrush, A refill. I missed something, Terry. Luckily it was the one I had a refill for. Blew up a Sharpie the other day. Yeah. Sharpies, Sharpie markers, alcohol-based markers do not love acrylic paint. Just saying. The cheap Bic pens are probably your best, and I learned that from Paula. The Bic pens will write over acrylic paint. But however, that being said, I am not an art journaler. I journal in Moley's. If I'm going to write things down, take notes, and do writing, it's in a separate. It's not a combo. It's not the art and the journaling. Although I may put a word or a quote or something like that, but I'm not the what you'd call an art journaler where you do art on a page and then you do full-on journaling. When I journal or write, it's a separate process for me than the art. Although my journals may have some art thrown in there, some, collage in there, something stuck in there. But for the most part, I don't combine the two. I know a lot of people do, and that's where art journaling came from, right? Somebody wanted me to draw a hand. I drew my own hand there one day. It's another piece of wax paper. You do want to put wax paper when you're painting. You don't want to glue your pages together. Here's where we used I'm not sure if I think this might have been the leftovers from a die cut. I don't even remember, or it could have just been a stencil. I don't even remember. But you can use all your same supplies. There's some stamps, stencils, and you can see I'll do some on one page, and then I might have a page where there's a lot done, then I might just have the background whited out. So don't feel like you have to go through the whole book in one sitting and white everything out in one sitting. It will become tedious. I don't want to say you'll get bored, but it will become very tedious. It's best just to do a couple pages in the front, then go to the back and do a couple pages in the back. Go to the middle and add a little something in the middle. And go back and forth and back, so that it's not becoming tedious. And you don't have to do them all at once. Yes, Julie Topaz. Julie loves a magazine. She's one of the ones that would request it. So you can see some of it's very messy. If you don't like this distressed, messy look, you don't have to do that. But it makes it easier to blend your images that you're leaving on the page. It makes it easier to blend I call it reverse collage, where you're reversing the collage process. But you can have it neater, okay? You just have to, it's going to take a little more time to blend your edges. All right? So here's one where there's nothing done yet except whiting out the text. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, that was some samples of the two main ones I have. And again, these were just 3 magazines. Was that one 2? That one's 2 thick ones. I think this one is 3. All right, so let me just get this off the table. And again, I'm going to show you. There was a little paint swatch here, so before the show started, we turned that into a little seahorse. Oh, anyway, let me get my focus back here. All right, so I pulled out a bunch of old Flow magazines. Now, my Flow magazines I use. So I tear things out. I cut things out. So a lot of the Flow magazines they're used. So they're not completely brand new and thick, right? But what I want to do is I want to pick 3 that have still a lot of stuff in it. These have some tabs on them. They came, and I'll show you how they worked. They did this for a couple months. I really liked this idea. Then they just stopped doing it. But they have these little tabs like this. Like this one says, "Live mindfully," and you punch this out, and then you have a little strip there, and you'd put your tab through there, and then you'd have a little tab like that. So this one, I think 4. This one had 4. So I might use this one just because I like those tabs. Even if I don't use the spoil yourself tab, you can always put new words, new words. Can you do this in a book, like Abandoned Places? Yeah, Whippy, I did it in, I'll show you the book that I have done it in. And again, this is probably not on, well, I know it's not on YouTube, but it's on Ustream. This was one that I did. It's a large book. It was in the clearance section. I've, of course, painted, collaged, and put 2 coats of varnish over it. But this was a cityscape book. Okay, this was a cityscape book. And I did that in here. Let me show you. So here, this was the image, and then I've done the same thing. Look. It's the same thing. You reverse collage out. You just paint out. You paint out what you don't want. Where's Sean? So here's another one. And we did all these we've done these on Ustream. These are actual buildings that were on the page. And I'm turning it into an outer space scene. Okay. There's some more. So you can see, you can turn them, any of them. I'm looking for Sean. That's kind of our thing. Those of us that were here when we did this show. This is my favorite page in the book. There he is. We put Sean Connery in. He's my honey. Sean's my honey. So you can see this is paint, and just paint it over. So yes, you can absolutely do this in another book. It doesn't have to be into I think you have to order through they are a Dutch, Flow is a Dutch company. You have to order that through them. I'm not sure how much the subscription is for in English, but the magazine's not cheap. It's $22.50. It's an imported magazine. It's packed full of paper, stickers, envelopes. It's packed full. I showed you on Monday the Flow book with all the papers. It's kind of the same thing, except there's more articles in this one. But there's still tons of paper things in it. There's probably a subscription card within the magazine itself, so you can find out how much it costs. Who asked? Somebody that asked here how much it costs for a subscription. So yeah, so just to say that, somebody in the chat asked if you could use like the Abandoned Places or any other kind of book. I am planning on buying another Abandoned Places now that my Books A Million got some in, because I'm using the other one for collage, cutting up. So, but yeah, so you can see, you can do the same thing with the book. And then I just painted over the covers. This was called Cityscapes, I think. So you can see here, I blacked out all the areas that I didn't want. And then you can go back in and play and make your own worlds with it. It is a little time consuming. It's not something you just sit down and do like in a sitting. It's one of those ongoing projects, pretty much like all our art journaling type projects are. They're ongoing. That's why you see we work one day in the napkin journal, we'll work in the coloring book collage journal, we'll work in the mixed media collage journal, we'll work in different ones throughout, in between doing color book pages and sometimes painting and drawing animals and portraits. We do a little bit of everything here, but it's not something that, Rome wasn't built in a day kind of thing. All right, so I do want to use, I know I want to use this one for the reason that I like the tabs. But again, there's going to be a lot of things cut out. If I come across a page that has something like literally cut out, I'll probably just tear that page out. Because I have not gone through these this morning. That's kind of what I'm doing now. So I know I want that one. So I'm just going to quickly flip through and see which three, like, we'll see what I'm talking about. So if I use this one, I would just tear that whole thing out, right? So I use my flows. I cut them up, I color in them, I take out the papers, the stickers, I use them. So I'm flipping through here to see which ones have the most stuff still in them. I think this will be one. This one's got quite a bit still in it. Because I've taken out all the stickers and the loose papers out of them already. Here's another one with the tabs. See, this one has tabs, so we might use this one. See, this one, I even tore the tab page out accidentally or something. Maybe that one. Did I say I was going to use 3 or 4? I think I said I was going to use 4. So if that's the case, we'll use these 4. Okay. So we'll put one with no tabs, one with tabs, one with no tabs, one with tabs. We'll use these 4. So you can see it'll be about the same thickness as the 3 of the other one. Okay, so we're going to go with those 3. Now, you're going to lose the cover, okay? You're going to lose the cover of your book. So if you really like the cover and you don't want to lose the cover, then you might want to, and I really kind of like this, but I am going to cover it up anyway. If you like, what I want to say though is if you like the cover and you don't want to put a scrapbook paper over it, then you can keep your cover, but it's going to be kind of flimsy, kind of. I said, no, I did not say 10. I did not say 10. Okay. So let's see. I really do like, I love the way this says magazine for paper lovers, but we're going to go for it. I'm not going to, it's just, they're sitting on a shelf. I'm not using them. So, because I've pulled out everything I want, so I use these for this kind of thing. All right, so it is a little tedious. It's a little time consuming to glue them all together, but I want to show you how I do it. Also, I do want to, if I do want to cover this up, the only reason I'd want to cover this up as a magazine journal is I would not want to look at this like this is all about flow, because it's not. It's not going to be about flow. It's going to be about whatever we put in it, right? But I do like that cover. We could always just paint this out and make that into a necklace. Paint this out, paint over the, take the sticker off the cover. I'm just brainstorming here, guys. See what I want to do. Could take if the sticker will come off. Not that it has to, but if you're going to paint over something, it can be a little bumpy. I just might find a scrapbook paper. I haven't even looked for that yet, guys. So just saying. All right, so here's what you want to do for to make it. You ready? You got to have a lot of Eileen's tacky, okay, or a heavy-duty white glue. This is just what I use. Now, again, if you find something else you like better or you want it, just don't email me. Just use it. Okay, so we're going to start with the back cover first, the back magazine. All right, so we're going to glue these two together. Now, here's the thing. You may not think it matters, but it does. You need a lot of glue on both sides. Just because you get a lot of glue on one side and you don't think, well, I got so much glue on there, that's going to stick it. I'm telling you guys, it matters. Don't ask me why. Glue sticking to glue just matters. So, roll up the old sleeve here, and I am going to put, and this does get a little hard on your hands. If you have, problems with your hands, this is probably, you're going to get one of your grandkids to squeeze out the glue for you, or I guess you could just open it up and put it on there. You know, because it does get tiring on your hand, okay, after a while. So I'm going to put a lot of glue, especially right along the edge to get my sleeve out of the way. And if some seeps out, have a baby wipe handy to, you know, so you're not gluing your pages together. All right, so you can see how much glue I got on there. So I'm going to set that aside for just a second. And then I'm going to put it on the back here and get my sleeve out of the way. A lot of glue. Okay, so we're going to do, so if you want coffee right now, you might want to go get it. Okay, so now what you do, let me get a baby wipe to keep my hands fairly clean. Although Eileen's tacky will roll right off your hand. Okay, see my hand's sore just doing that. I can feel it. So, all right, so now what you want to do is smooth out the glue all the way to the edge. Just kind of smush it out all the way to the off, you know, kind of flicking it off the edge here so that it's completely covered edge to edge. Of course, if you miss a spot, you can always go back in there and you know, around the edges or whatever. It's just, you know, might as well do it right the first time. Okay, so I don't know why, but it does matter that there's glue on both sides. Hey, Dragonfly, anybody else popping in? I think I said hi to Julie Topaz. So now I'm going to put them together, and while it's wet, you can kind of slide it around and get it right like you want. You really want the spine as flush as you can get it. And that's why it's important to use the same magazine. It doesn't have to be Flow. It doesn't have to be Somerset Studio, although I think Somerset Studio, pretty much all their magazines are a standard size. But you want all the magazines to be the same size, whatever it is you're using. Okay, so I'm going to open this up a little bit so I can get back here and really push down. And it's probably best if you, when you get done with this part, is, you know, stack a bunch of books on it overnight before you work in it. Now we'll probably do a little bit of work in ours, but I would recommend that after you've glued them all together to put some heavy books on it overnight so that it's really, really, really glued down. Okay. All right. So I'm going to try to, let's see, I'm going to open up my tacky glue because it is hurting my hand a little bit to squeeze it out. So I'm just going to do it this way. Put me out a blob of it. Okay, and then put a blob on the next one. Enough for me to smear out with my fingers. It's just easier than trying to squeeze it out that little tip, you know, especially when it's covered with glue. There we go. All right, so I'm just gonna mash it all out now. Go all the way off the edges. And just the fact that you have a couple layers of the covers inside gives it more stability. Although, again, if you're not working front to back, back to front, they will start to warp. Okay, so we got that one. Let's come over here. You just really want to smear it out in a nice smooth coating all the way out the edges. On both sides. Okay, should you spread glue with your finger? Because the credit card, if you use a old card or everything, the glue's so sticky, it's harder to spread that than say like with paint or something. You could try if you want. I like the feel. I can tell where the glue has been. If I'm doing it with my finger, I know I'm not missing anything because I can feel it. I can feel where, it's just like when I use my fingers in finger paint. You know, when I paint, I can tell where the paint is by the touch. Okay, by the touch. All right, so now we're going to glue these two together. And again, just really lining them up well as best you can all the way around. And I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a magazine journal. It's to play in, but you know, do the best you can. Do the best you can. And after this show, I probably will go sit some books on top of it. Okay. just to ensure that my spine, everything is glued well together. But in the meantime, we're going to play. Okay, what's this right here? Oh, that's the other. I don't want to lose that because it is the tab. Okay, so let's do this last one. I need to fill up my bottle here. If you can, anytime you can buy the new Eileen's Tacky with these, this on it, because then you can store it upside down on the cap like that. Put plenty out. So you don't have to worry about your glue settling in the bottom of the jar. Like if you have your glue standing up like this, these ones are made to, whoops, these ones are made to store face down. See, even they come packaged like that. So you can stand them on end. Because, you know, for years I just stuck mine in a jar to keep it upside down all the time, so it was always ready to use. Now they got smart and they made it so that you don't have to do that. You can store it on end. Okay, so I'm just going all the way to the edge. And I can feel where there's no glue. See? I can tell where I need to by the touch. And Eileen's Tacky literally rolls off your finger. I'm just wiping it off on a baby wipe here, but if you just can roll it right off your finger. Eileen's Tacky's good that way. Eileen's Tacky, right, Terry? Eileen's Tacky. Terry said that she was saying Eileen like our E.T. Eileen. Oh, hi Eileen, by the way. Need another question. Sorry, do not need to tear out pages of the book so it doesn't. No, I like them that way. I like the pages thick, bulky. I like them that way. But, you know, if you don't want your pages, you can tear out anything you want, you know, so that they don't get too thick or too fluffy. You know, I've shown y'all Fluffette. My composition book Fluffette. You know, if you don't want it to turn into a Fluffette, you can remove pages out of your book. Or here's the other thing too, guys. It depends on what you're going to use your magazine journal for. My other magazine journals that I showed you a minute ago do not have a lot of glued in images. They don't have a lot of glued in elements that are making it fluffy. All that's really in those magazines is paint. So I'm not fluffing them up with extraneous materials. Do you like that? I did. It's pronounced Arlene. Arlene's. Arlene. It's Arlene's. It's Arlene. Terry's putting it phonetically in the chat. Ah, Terry, you're so trouble. Okay, so anyway, and again, in this case, I've torn so much out of these flows anyway. Look, you can see. Look, there's a lot torn out of those books. Look. That one right there especially. So I have plenty of room to add some other things because I've torn so much out of them. But if there's not a lot of stuff already torn out of your magazines and you're using a fresh magazine, if you're not adding anything other than just paint, it's not going to be an issue, right? It's not going to be an issue. All right, so I do like this cover, but I want to show y'all how to do a scrapbook cover paper. Now, it doesn't have to be scrapbook. It could be any kind of paper you want. It could just be a page out of the, you know, there's all kinds of, look, that, you know, that's very pretty right here. This could be, maybe let's see, maybe we will do that. Here's a spoil yourself, because that would be, here's some more stuff flinging out of here that I've used. What's this one? Okay, this is a little road map thing that was in this book. Okay, so as you see, I've used my flows. Okay, so let's just say we wanted this for a cover. Okay, that would be a pretty cover too. Now again, this is just matte cardstock, whereas like this magazine journal, I actually used a shiny scrapbook paper. I really like this paper. Maybe I will go ahead and pull this paper out just so I can show you how to do that. Okay. It's sturdier. If you're using a matte cover or leaving the cover, now this one's gloss, kind of semi-gloss, it's going to be a little sturdier as a cover than, say, this. So if you do decide to use something like this on your cover, you want to, you'll probably want to gloss finish that. Okay. Let me see about getting some scrapbook paper. Okay, hang on just a second, guys. Okay, here it is. So I've used quite a bit of this. This is a Recollections Steampunk Botanica. It came out a few years at Halloween because I got some skulls in there and stuff. But this paper, all the paper in it, and here's some of the cut aparts that came in it. All this paper is like a glossy cover. And this is the paper I used on that other magazine journal that you just saw. Oh, the accent is on the lean. Oh, lean. Oh, lean. Did I get it right, Terry? Oh, lean. Okay, so I'm going to want to cover the front and the back and also the spine. Now, I would recommend if you have a 12 by 12 sheet, having it fold over the spine and then having a back, or if you don't want to put the paper on the spine because it's going to start tearing and bending and warping. I'm going to show you how I did the other one where I just put washi tape. Just put washi tape on the spine, but you have to cover the washi tape with clear packing tape. Washi tape is not going to hold up on a spine. Just saying. So we're going to cover the front and back with a scrapbook paper. We're going to washi tape the spine and then cover the spine. And even if you don't put anything on the spine, you still want to put duct tape or clear packing tape. If you want the washi tape to show through, you're going to want to put clear packing tape. If you're going to put, you gotta just know that this is going to be open and closed a lot. And it's going to start to warp some, if not a lot. Okay, so I'm going to pick two papers out of here. I like this one. That would be a good one. Even it has a spider on it. I mean, don't freak out, people. Don't freak out. And the back, let's see, what do I want on the back? Maybe that one, a calling card picture on the back. I might want that. And these are all shiny gloss papers. Can we use duct? Yes, I use duct tape. Yes, Julianne. Here, let me show you. Now, again, my spines are pretty warped up because look how much I've used these magazine journals. Look, they're well loved. This one has duct tape. This one has duct tape, but see how warped the spine is? Because in this one, which was my first one, I think, I did not go front to back, back to front, back to front. I just went right on through. So by the time I got here, it was really warping the spine of that second book. But there's duct tape on that one. And then again, this one's got the washi tape with glued washi tape and clear packing tape. And this one I was more careful to go back to front. This one has 3 magazines in it. We're doing one with 4. Okay, so let's see here. I like the red too, but I'm really liking those two. This one has some more of the cut aparts here. Let's put that back in here. That's where that goes. I like the hot air balloon. So it's a really pretty paper, and like I said, it's all shiny. Of course, I love anything with all the watches and clocks, but I'm not really feeling the brown today. The solid brown. This one has a little skull in a bird cage. Again, this came out at Halloween a few years ago. And this red, I think I used this on the other one. That would be a pretty one on the back page. But I do like the little calling card on the back page too. So, okay. Anyway, so I'm not sure when this came out. I don't remember if it even says. But it's from Recollections brand, which is Michael's, and it's probably at least 3 years ago. So, of course, they don't have it again anymore, but it's been okay. But night, Carol. Sleep well in Oz. Sleep well in Oz, Mick Carroll. Okay, we're recording. Okay, again, I really, you really want to make sure that you you weight down this before you do all what we're getting ready to do. But anyway, all right. So this is how I measure. I will take what I want to use. Now let me just cut this off though. Cut off the strip just so I can kind of judge where I want, because these are 12 by 12 papers and the magazine is, the magazine is 8 3/4 by 11. So I'm sure it's an A something size in the European, letter measurements. Okay, so I know I like the watch, and I like the birds. I'm going to cut a little off the top and a little off of the bottom. So I want that bird there, and I want this watch full on. So I'm just going to line it up on the edge here and kind of judge. You can measure exactly with your ruler and pencil and all that. What I'm going to do is I'm lining it up on the edge here because I'm going to want this edge right on the edge. And I'm just going to bend. I'm just going to fold over the edge there. Fold over the edge here. And, I'll get the paper trimmer just to be nice. Probably normally I would just cut it with the scissors, but I'm going to get the paper trimmer out here. And then I'll trim that off first. I'll trim that first. Okay, and then we'll go from the spine over here. I got the top and the bottom, and I know I'm trying to stay in camera, guys, but I'm, kind of zoomed in a little. Then I'll go over here on the edge. Now, if you want to have a sturdier spine, you could take this and fold it over and use that as your spine. Okay? But let me tell you this, on this thicker paper like this, it's going to be bending, bending, bending. So it's totally up to you. I'm trying to decide right now if I want to do that. Do I want to use this as the spine? Maybe. It'd be quicker than the duct tape. What do y'all think? I'm going to have to trim that up anyway. So we can do it this way and use that as the spine. Well, it'll all get glued down, heavily glued. Heavily, heavily glued. Okay. And it will hold up. Again, washi tape is very thin. Well, I said I was going to do the packing tape, so we'll go with the packing tape. Although I'm really liking the way that looks. I'm really liking the way that looks. But I think I told y'all we're going to go with washi tape and the packing tape, so we'll do that. But here's the thing. You can do it this way too. All right? You can do it this way too. But this is going to start bending and warping. You like the paper as the spine? I do too, but I already told you guys I was going to do it this way. With the packing tape and the washi tape. So y'all tell me, what do you think? I like it like this, but we could go either way. Yeah, it looks neater this way. Let me take a sip of coffee while y'all decide. Yes, I know I can do it how I want. I'm just asking y'all what y'all would like to see. I'm asking. Everybody's liking the paper better. The paper spine looks good. Yeah. You know what I'll do? I'll do another one. I'll take 2 more flows and I'll do a thinner packing tape one. So we'll go ahead and use this. All right, so now I can tell though I got to trim. I need a little bit of trimmage. Here. Because you do want it exactly over the... So we'll do another one real quick too. I'll do 2. Okay, let's see. Let's make sure. Okay, I need to trim it just a little bit more. And that may be because I didn't glue the magazines together perfectly. Or I may not have cut this perfectly. But you do want this to wrap without it sticking up. See, I don't want that sticking up. I want it flat, right? So I think that's good there. All right. Now on the back, I'm just going to go ahead and flip this over just so we can, haven't glued anything down yet. We're making magazine journals, Carla. All right, so if I glue this over, and that will give it more sturdiness on there too. And then, because I want this, I'll still probably put packing tape where that's attached. I don't trust little edges not to come up. All right, so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to, I want all this down here. I don't care so much if this gets cut off here. So again, you can measure, guys, with pencil. You can just turn the whole book over. Look, you can turn the whole book over like this and take a pencil or pen or whatever and mark it, you know, if you want to get it exact. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on here and fold it and cut it so we can get crack-a-lacking. And again, this is a heavier, thicker cardstock stack. Right. All right, so let's see how that. Right on the edge. And again, now it can just be a little shorter because we're going to have a wrap around. All right. Wrap around from the front. Okay, let me move my paper cutter. Excess paper. All right. Still with me? All right, so let's go ahead and start with the back because we're going to have the front wrap over the back. Okay, so again, we're taking the glue. We're doing the exact same. Whoops, let's take the cap off. Going to do the exact same thing. I think I got a lot right there. We're going to do the exact same thing. Is we're going to first glue on the back. Okay, so I'm just going to go all the way to the edge. A little bit. Oh, I got some there. Let's go ahead and put some on the back here. Get a little bit more. Because I can feel with my fingers where the glue is and where it's not. Okay, now let's do this side here. Need more glue. Go through a lot of glue on this because you want it nice and glued down. Okay. All right, now let's glue the back on to the front here. I mean on the back up to the edge. And again, the covers especially, you're going to want to really, you know, I don't care if they have a little bit of warp to them, but you really want your glue completely over every bit of the covers, especially if this is a thinner paper that you're covering with. You really want to take the time, mash it down well, and if you want to get out of your roller or your, you know, card to scrape it down well. So I'm really mashing down the back cover. All right, so now let's do the front cover. Okay. All right, I'm going to have to get some more glue out. I think this bottle's almost empty. And all the way over the spine. I'm going to put extra glue on the spine too. You really want that saturated, but let me get the front covers glued on, then we'll go around the sides. Okay. All right, so I'm going to just smear this all the way to the edge. Edge to edge. And I know it's a little tedious to watch, guys. Oh, I think my mailman's here. Could it be? No, not at 10. That just had to be a truck. because when I have the mailman here, I got an announcement. But it may not be, the announcement may not come till Monday if my mailman doesn't come in time during the show. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here and again smear out the glue. And for those just joining us, we're making a magazine journal with 4 old Flow magazines, so we can make it into an art journal. Okay, I do call them magazine journals because that's what they're made out of, just to kind of distinguish them from. Now, I'm not putting anything on the spine yet. I'm going to go ahead and get the cover nice and glued on here. Then I'll work on the spine. So let's get the edges to edge. And again, really take the time to mash it down well. Hey, little book owl. Tara. Who else has come in? Vicki. Thanks, guys, for being here. I'm recording. We've already been at it for about an hour. You just really want to take the time to mash down your cover really so that you don't have bumps and lumps and whatever. Again, you can get your brayer and really roll down. I'm really just taking the time to mash it down. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over. And here's where you want a lot of glue, okay? I am going to probably just use up the rest of this bottle here. On the spine, I'm going to have to get some more glue out here in a minute, guys, when I do the other one. Okay, if we have time here. I'm going to put a lot of glue on the spine. Whatever's left in the bottle here. You really want a lot of glue on the spine, especially if you're just going to put washi tape and packing tape. So see how I'm really working that glue into all the crevices here? A lot of glue. And then same thing here on the overlap. Need a little bit more here. Okay. So now I'm going to take my work it from the back up and over. Okay, and then I'm going to really, let me get the glue off my hands. Really work that down. Hey Donna, the paper I'm using is an old Recollection stack. This one right here, Steampunk Botanica, and I'm using it because it's a glossy, heavier cardstock. But you can use whatever kind of paper you want. You don't even have to put a cover. But I would recommend, if you don't put a cover, that you at least put a duct tape or packing tape spine to hold the 4 magazines together. Okay, I mean, you really can't mash this enough. Taking the back end of my scissors and really working that glue because you want this to hold together. Okay. Okay, and then like I said, on the one where, see, I've got a little bit of warping a little bit of bubbling right there. Because I am kind of hurrying, guys. You really want to take your time, especially with a thicker paper. It doesn't really bother me. These books are going to get so beat up over the time you use them. But, All right, so we got that. Let me just get any excess glue off the edge. Now, if you really want to ensure that this stays down, you could put a piece of packing tape right down on top of that spine, on top of that edge. I've got it really glued down. If it starts to come up, you might want to put packing tape. So there's the cover. There's the spine. And again, you really, I can't stress enough how much you want to really get that spine glued in well. Because you don't want this coming apart. You don't want this coming apart. See how that's glued down really tight? See how tight that is? And then it's still a good idea to put some heavy books on it overnight, which again, I'll probably put some heavy books on this after the show to really make sure that those those 4 magazines are all glued together really, really well. Okay? All right, let me get some more glue, guys. Hang on. Oops. Let me also put my cutter up, because that's one thing I don't like to leave laying around. I want to step on a blade. All right, let's see here. Okay, so just in case you ever want to run it, you don't want to run out of glue, you can always buy it by the gallon. So I'm gonna fill up my smaller jar. I won't fill it up all the way because that'll take a while, right? I mean, and I have to kind of do this on my lap so that I'm not, I don't want to, of course, spill this everywhere. So I have to kind of just take a second to kind of pour it in there slowly. So just a second, let me fill my bottle. Carefully. At least get enough in there so I can do the show. All right, now, after you put some, I think there's enough in there for now. But always take a baby wipe to, clean off the lid. Yes. Clean it off well. Make sure there's nothing in there, because that's going to be a booger bear, or put a plastic baggie. Some people put Vaseline. I think Barb puts Vaseline on hers to make sure the threads are glue free. But whatever you do, just make sure you don't glue the lid down, especially on a gallon. You don't. Yeah, you don't want to glue your lid down. You girls, I knew you'd crack up. There's Terry with the link. There's Terry with the link of gallon tacky. Terry. Okay, so before we do any work in this, I'm going to go ahead and take a minute to put together a quick two book one, so I can show you how to put washi tape on it. So I'm going to take 2 more of the flows. See which 2 I have the least stuff torn out of. Maybe these 2. Because I tear things out of these, guys. I use them. I use my flows. All right, so let's go ahead and take a minute to glue 2 more. Just do a 2 magazine journal. Okay, because you can do that too. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some out, kind of squeeze it out just quicker, because it is tiring on your hand, guys, to try to squeeze it out of the tip on a big area like this. So I'm just going to squeeze some out here. Night, Marilyn. Thanks for being here. Okay. Marilyn, yeah, I do have Marilyn's address. I was going to say, Marilyn, I think I sent you an art card. If I haven't sent you an art card, Marilyn, let me know, because you need one, girl. You need an art card if I haven't sent you one yet. Okay, so let me go ahead. I'm just going to spread the tacky glue all the way to the edges. I'm just going to do a 2. This is just going to be a 2 magazine. The other one's a 4 magazine. Okay. This will be a thinner one. Because I told y'all I was going to show you how to do washi tape and packing tape spine. So I'll do both here. And it's the same process no matter how many magazines you have, right? Hey, Steffi. Anybody else popping in? Okay, so I'm going to glue these 2 together. And again, you really want to mash it down. You really want to open the book to the spine and really just... make sure that they're really stuck together well. Now, again, my flow magazines, I cut things, I use them. So this is like leftover flow magazines that we're doing this with. It's not cheap to have it shipped to the States. Yeah, I know, Kimmer. It is expensive. They are expensive. And the magazine themselves are $22.50. the magazines are not cheap. To me, guys, this is what I would recommend. If you've never tried a Flow product, like magazine or book, I would buy the Flow book for $29.99. The Flow book, there's no articles in it. I showed that yesterday or Monday. There's no articles in them. They're just all paper products. Paper, not napkins, wrapping paper, envelopes, note cards, postcards, paper dolls, pullouts, banners. If you like all the paper products that come in a Flow, you'll probably rather have the Flow book. Let me show you the size comparison. So here's the Flow magazine, here's the Flow book. So I'm just going to set it on top. You can see how much smaller it is, but look how thick it is. It's like an inch thick. And then, of course, this is 2 magazines here. This is just a regular magazine thickness. And the Flow, and I've taken lots out of it, guys. You can see I've pulled out a lot of stuff out of this. I don't have a glue. You can use Elmer's glue if that's all you have. You can use Elmer's glue. Elmer's tacky is just a little better. Just make sure you put a lot. Put a lot of glue and smooth it out really well. But yeah, you can use Elmer's glue. Good morning, Noah. Hello, Noah. Okay, so what I wanted to show you though is how to cover one of these and use a, what do you call it? Packing tape and decorating the spine with washi tape. All right, so let me make some space here. All right, so let's say, because I did like this cover here. I mean, this was a page out of the Flow magazine. I really like that. It's a nasturtium flower. But I like the way it says a little spoil yourself right there. So we're going to glue this on. Now, it's got a little bit of perforation left from where I took it out of the Flow. So I'm just going to very gently cut just a tiny bit of, I want to cut that perforation off. You could do it with your, cutter too. So I'm just going to cut off that extra perforation for the cover here. And I might have to trim it no, it's okay. I just don't want any hanging over. It might hang over just the tiniest bit. I'm just going to trim down a 1/16 of an inch or whatever it is, just to make it not, to fit in here right there. And then let's see what we can pick for the back. Do I have something in the Flow that I can pick? What do I want on the back cover? So I can see I got some glue on the edges of this magazine, and it's kind of sticking. You really want to be careful not to glue your magazine shut. So you're going to have to go in there and carefully separate your pages if you got glue on them. Okay. I wasn't careful enough not to get glue on the pages. But now I am looking for something for a cover. I could just use another scrapbook paper. Let's see. Not the same one. Okay, so maybe something out of the print shop. I could use this on the cover and something from print shop for the back. So I'm just kind of looking at this and this here. That's pretty, the big pink writing. I'm liking this. All right, I'm going to go with this for the back. All right, so I already know this is the size I want, so I'm just going to take this. I'm going to put this on here. I want a little bit of the yellow, but mostly the pink. So I'm just going to take this. Again, you can use your paper cutter. I'm just using this as a template for the back page. Okay. All right, let's move everything out of the way. All right, so now we're going to glue. Well, I don't want that. I want the whole cap off. I'm going to put some Glue on the front. So just making a couple of versions here as far as the spine goes. Okay. I need more glue. You want to go all the way to the edge. And I can feel, see, like there's glue there. It's not as thick as right there, but I can feel that it's completely covered. That's why I like using my fingers with the glue, because I can feel it doesn't look as thick right there on the edge, but I can feel that there is glue all the way to the edge. Although I need a little bit more down here at the bottom. And you do want to do the paper you're covering and glue on the magazine cover. And don't ask me why, but it does make a difference. It does make a difference in the sticking of the paper to the cover. Okay, now a little bit more here. All the way to the spine. Okay. You like it when I make things? All right. Now again, make sure there's no excess glue. Because in the other one, I did feel like I've glued a few pages together because I wasn't careful with the glue. You probably want to put your wax paper between the covers when you're doing all this, so you don't accidentally get glue on your pages, because it's easy to happen. I was being pretty careful, and I still got glue on some of the pages. All right, so, and again, you'll probably want to put this under some heavy books. Let me just get the excess glue off for a second. Let's turn it over and do the back. So I can feel exactly where there's no glue. Whereas if you do it with a card, spread it with the card, you can't really feel where you've missed spots. And wherever you miss a spot is where you're going to have a bubble. Okay? That's where you're going to have a bubble on your paper, is where you miss the glue. The air is going to be trapped under there. So you really want to take your time with this. I'm kind of hurrying, I know. But I want to try to get as much done as I can, show y'all a couple versions of this and maybe do a couple pages. So we're already over an hour. If we do any, after we do the gluing part here, we'll do another part, because I don't want these to get too long. We'll do another part where we're working. We'll have one called Making the Magazine Journals, and we'll have one called Working in It. Hey, Dominique. Okay, so we're going to glue the back down here. Have it more toward the front again. I see lots of glue oozing out. Don't glue your pages together. I mean your magazine pages together. All right, so again, you might want to get out your brayer. This is where you might want your card to kind of smash it down really well, because that's where you're going to get your air bubbles, is any place that you did not get glue. That's why it's a good idea to do front and back, the paper and the magazine. Put glue on both. Okay, let's get off the excess here. All right, so there we go. So there is our cover. Now this one we did not wrap the spine like we did the first one, right? Okay, so because we're going to put washi tape and clear packing tape. So you can do it either way. Now you can see I got a few little wrinkles in this from where I rushed, but that's okay. It is what it is. It's a magazine journal. But you want to take your time, guys. You want to take your time. All right, so now I got to decide what washi tape. Let's decide what washi tape I want to use for the spine. Okay, these are all kind of greens and blues, so I'm probably not going to use any of those. And so let's see here. Probably something red or pink. Let's go with pink maybe. That's kind of a orange. This one is more red. I kind of like the stripe. Oh, you know what? Green would be good. But I kind of like the pink and maybe some green. Let's go with a pink stripe and a green. Let's go. No, that looks too Christmassy. Let's go with one or the other. Hang on. Should I just go with the stripe? I think there's enough in there. This one's kind of an oranger, but it's bright. Okay, we're going to go with that. Okay. Hang on, guys. I know I'm smacking into the camera here. Whoa, don't roll away, washi tape. I don't even really collect it anymore. I mean, I have a few newer ones, but not a lot. I don't buy it anymore because I haven't used up that. All right, so I can see a little bit of wrinkle going on here. You gotta really make sure. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this kind of an orangey red. And one of the things you got to know about this one, I hope it's going to tear well. One of the things that you got to know about washi tape, it's really not spine worthy on a book, okay? It's not made for, do you use some jelly plate packing tape? Yeah, I could. Yeah, that's a good idea, Bam. Prismacolor Bam said to use jelly plate packing tape if you are one that's made the jelly plate packing tape. I have some around here somewhere. A couple people have sent some. I've given most of it away. But I probably have a strip of it around here somewhere. I don't know where it is right this minute. But that's another option. But you're still going to want to cover it because you want this to be nice and strong. So here's the thing about using washi tape. You want to glue it. You still want to glue it, okay? Now, I might have to do this in my lap, guys, because I'm not going to be able to hold this up and show you under camera. So what I'm essentially going to do, now I think I will go through the tip now. I am going to go let me get it flowing. I'm going to go, again, let's get it flowing. I'm going to go all along the spine here with the glue. And then when I glue on the edges here, I'm going to put more glue there too. You have to use glue with your washi tape. It's not going to hold up. It's not going to hold up as a spine, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one down the middle. Okay, let me start with that. I got to put it in my lap though to hold it. I'm going to put one strip right smack down the middle. And then I'll show you this. Hang on, let me tear that off. Okay, one strip right down the middle, and I'm going to kind of work it down, right? Now what I'm going to do, I just leave the edges for now. You can trim those in a second. Now I'm going to put some more glue right along the edge, and it depends on how wide your washi tape is and everything. And a little bit right there on the top where they're going to overlap. And don't worry about getting too much glue on your washi tape because you're going to put a piece of packing tape, clear packing tape, over this whole thing. Okay, so now I got the glue on top of the washi tape and where it's going to fold over right there. Okay, so now I wish I could hold this under the camera, but I have to hold this in my lap, guys, to do this. So I'll show you here. Let me tear that off. All right, so now I've got a piece right over the top of that other one. And then I'm going to fold it over like that. So it's right on that paper too, the paper we just glued on. And then I'm just going to kind of, carefully work it down there. Uh-oh. Come back here, tape. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to add more more glue right along the edge there where you're putting the washi tape. Okay, see now my pages are buckling here because I really should stop and put a book on this and get it nice and dry rather than bending the book here, but we're working it here. All right, so now let me get the edge here. Okay, I got some stuck to my finger. Get it off. There we go. All right, so now we're going to put another third piece on the spine and overlap it. Okay, so now I've got that third piece down and overlapping. And you want to take your time. See, that's not perfectly even there, but you want to take your time. We're doing a little quick here, but that's what you got now. Okay, you got 3, and there's glue on there. Let's wipe that off. You got 3 pieces of washi tape. Let me get my scissors. And now I'm going to just trim off the overhang. Okay, so pretty, yeah. Kind of reddy orange with the green. And again, I can see that I really need to work down those covers. I wouldn't have hurried quite this fast, but we want to get it done. All right, so now what you want to do, probably want to wait till this dries well. But we're going to go ahead and put the packing tape on it. I would wait overnight. I would put this whole thing under some books, make sure everything's glued well, make sure the washi tape glue is dry and all that before you put the packing tape on, but we're going to go for it. So, clear packing tape. Okay. And I'm going to try to get it just on this side of the washi tape. I can't get on top, but I can't see it because of the camera. It is clear, but I still kind of want it lined up. Once you set it down, there's no going back. So you want to just on the other side of the washi tape. And depending on how thick, of course, your book is, like if you have the 4 magazines like the other one, don't want to lose the edge there. You're going to overlap, 3 or 4 times. You like the cover? Yeah. And you could cover the cover with, gloss varnish it. Okay, so now I got my stripe right there. Now I'm going to ease over the edge slowly without gluing it to the, okay, I got to put it in my lap again. I'm going to fold it over the edge. Fold it over the edge. So I've got it on the edge here. Okay. I'm going to flip it over and then flip the packing tape all the way over the back. You have to have the packing tape on top of the washi tape. Washi tape will not hold up. Trust me. Washi tape will not hold up as a spine. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to just cut off the excess here. I can almost just peel it. There we go. Get rid of the little bits. Okay. All right, so there you go. And if your tape, if you used 3 or 4 magazines, you'd have to do this twice. You'd have to do the packing tape once here, once there, and probably over the whole thing. Because look how thick this is. So you're going to probably need like 1 piece here, 1 piece there, and a 3rd one over the whole thing. So you'd probably need 3 pieces of packing tape for a big thick one like this, right? Okay. So, any questions real quick, guys? I'm going to stop this video and we'll call this one making the magazine journals, and the next one we'll do working in the magazine journals. But do you have any questions, or so I can put them in the recording if you have questions on anything we've done right now? And again, you just want to work it all down, work out all the, wrinkles, and make sure that you really, take your time and get it nice and flat and any wrinkles, and then put some books on top. And take your time, guys. I rushed through this real quick, so you don't need to do that. But I wanted to show y'all the process, even though you'll want to take a little bit more time. So there's one, and that's with 2 magazines. And here's the second one. And again, I can see a few little wrinkles in this paper. And then there's one with the wraparound spine. And then there's the back, where this paper's wrapped all the way around the back. And that's just some stuff sticking out of the book, guys, here. Okay, so these are our magazine journals. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording. And I'm not leaving you guys here in chat, but if you're watching on YouTube, there's a couple versions of some magazine journals, which I did show at the beginning of this show, a couple samples of where we're going with the insides. But I've been getting a lot of requests for magazine journals, and because it's been so long since I've made the other 2, I mean, they're years old. So I wanted to show a fresh, updated ones. And I will be right back, guys. So just hang loose if you're watching recording. Just stay tuned for part